Well, look, I had to have this Mac. I just had to have it, you
Yeah.
know. And then I've used it like 5 times.
Oh, I know. I've got one that I'm like I was well for a while there. I was using it like for everything, and then it's I don't think I've touched it in over a year.
Okay, so right before I bought the Mac, I bought an all new Microsoft laptop,
Yeah.
like loaded, and I've used that one like 3 times. And then I was like, well, I need a Mac. I did get it used, so I didn't pay that much for it.
Hmm.
And then I've used it like 5 times. So I'm still on my old laptop. Still. It's so dumb.
Oh, wow.
I
No,
know.
yeah, I don't think I've ever done anything quite to that level, but
So within the span of like 4 months, I spent like $1,000 on new computers, 2 new computers that I never use, which is just ridiculous because it's not like I have money to spare.
yeah, it's not like, spending money on those typewriters that you love so
Uh,
much.
Look, that's not an option. We don't. That money is money set aside for.
Oh, I understand. I understand. But how have you been?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really good. Yeah, I'm doing great. Uh,
Awesome.
you went on a road trip recently, didn't you?
Yeah, to Spokane.
How was that?
You know, it was really nice. It's very urban, so I'm not used to that. It's like a real city. I mean, I live in the Tri-Cities, and so
Hmm.
it almost has a small town feel because it's 3 smaller cities all put together.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's like a real city. Like the traffic made me a little nervous, but it was beautiful. Lots of really cool places.
yeah, yeah. Traffic in like real big cities is always panic inducing and like anxiety, just a nightmare. Someone I know is in Los Angeles right
Oh,
now.
oh
They,
no, thank you.
yeah, no, they sent me just a quick little clip of the traffic out there. I was like, see, this is why I won't go back out to LA. Like,
No, no, thank you. Denver was bad enough for me. I won't ever go back to Denver. I had gone there a couple of years in a row for a writing seminar, and I won't do it again.
yeah, Denver I can handle, but like LA, no, thank you, no way, because they have
Yep.
those like 8-lane highways and freeways. Like,
Oh my gosh, that just makes me nauseous just thinking about it.
yeah, yeah, me too. I almost had a little panic attack right
I
there
know,
just thinking
seriously, it
about.
triggers me a little,
Yeah,
and I don't use the word trigger lightly, but there are some
yeah.
things that genuinely, like, you just talk about it, and I can just feel my stomach starting to like, okay, let's not talk about that.
Like I just had that happen, so maybe let's move
Yeah,
away from that topic.
but they had a really great bookstore that I just accidentally came upon.
Yeah, I saw that. What was the name of it?
Giant Nerd Books
Nice.
just had the coolest collection of, like, it looked like a lot of really, like, bizarre, like, one of a kind, like, stuff that isn't in print anymore. Just a really cool. I'm telling you, I had only given myself $50 to spend in there, but there was a set in there that I know I've never seen, and it
Yeah.
was it was like $100. I was like, I just couldn't do it. I wished I could have, but
Yeah, no, I know that happens to me all the time whenever I go to conventions, like of any kind, and they have stuff like the vendors or whatever. They'll have like really cool stuff that like vintage, no longer available, like like, and they'll have it there, and I'm like, I can't afford that, but do I really want to spend the money on it? You know what I mean? And it's like it's heartbreaking.
it is
The
heartbreaking.
amount of
I have to walk away from it.
Yeah, the amount of like nerd grail items I've had to like walk away from it to this day I think about it. I'm like, oh, I should have just spent the money and I'd have it right now.
Well, that's the thing, and like I dwell on it. Like this was days ago, and I'm still like, God, I wish I could have gotten that.
It's been years for me and I'm still like, I should have bought that. I should have bought that.
Look, when I first walked in, the first thing that I saw was a
Mhm.
huge, like 2 or 3 shelves of like erotic. fiction, and you never
Yeah.
find that in used bookstores. And so I immediately like didn't stray from those three little shelves right there. And when I
I
took them, I know. And then when I took them up to pay for them, the gal said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that you bought these." She said that one woman brought in a huge collection and she wasn't sure she could sell it.
Huh.
Buyer,
Well,
you found your buyer.
yeah. Just hold out long enough, and Ella will find those things and
I
buy them.
know, it was like I went right to it. It was like, the water
Yeah,
prongs. It was just like,
yeah, exactly. Oh, that's hilarious. Ladies and gentlemen, in case you don't know, this is Nerds of the Round. a bit, took me a bit to get to it, but here we are. Antonio Padilla, returning international best-selling author Ella Dominguez. Like I said, you've been pretty busy, going around, road tripping. What have you been up to? You've been working. I know you've been working on something.
yeah, I'm working on a book that I had unpublished. Oh gosh, probably about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
To brand it and then finish the second book. So I'm just about done with that set to put out, and then on top of that, working on like it's ridiculous, 3 other series at the same time. So
Always the overachiever you are.
And on top of that, I have an interview on Wednesday for a part-time job. Well,
Oh, wow.
I don't hate to call it part-time. It's just as needed, but it'll be nice for the extra cash, for my typewriters.
Exactly, because you got to have more typewriters.
That's right.
So, where do you keep those things? Oh my God! Like, I have no idea what you even do with those.
So I only keep one out
Mhm.
that I can. My favorite one, the green one.
Yeah.
But the other ones, I have stored away, but
Right.
with easy access, so that every now and then I just, like a car, I just want to take it for a drive and just, keep things running. So I know it looks like I have a lot, but I don't have, I have less than 10 of them.
To be fair, I only bring it up because you show them off so often, and it's like, what do you even do with those? Like, but then again, like, look at me, like, it's not like I'm playing these, they just go on a shelf and that's where they stay. So
I actually use my Hermes 3000 to type notes on.
Yeah.
So I type all my ideas and my notes, my blurb ideas. I type all that out. So then I have an original of it. Because, it's not like the computer where you can just backspace and erase it. And now your original thought is gone.
No, yeah, that's I was having a conversation with somebody about that, about how I will still write in a journal, because there's something about once you put the pen to paper, there's something like permanent about it. Like you can't just hit delete. You know what I mean?
Yes, and I actually regret having recently with one of the series I'm working on, I just went back and rewrote a whole bunch of it, and it's like, do I even have the original? I suppose somewhere, but I don't know where it is.
Yeah, like it's somewhere. Like, no, I know exactly what that's like. I have scripts that I wrote years ago, and like trying to find them. Like, I know they're somewhere, backed up somewhere, but I don't know.
Right. And so now I've become almost a little OCD about, I will email that version to myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've done.
So my poor email is just full of all these documents, so that at least I have some sort of running record of what I've done.
Yeah. No, yeah, like that. I can relate to that as well. I've done that multiple times because, got to do something, got to figure it out. All right. So there was a very specific reason why I asked you to come on the show today. And, for everybody out there who's watching, this is the 3rd episode in a row that Cliff has not been here. Again, he's just very busy this week, apparently. So he just couldn't make it, but I'm holding down the fort. But Ella, so I wanted you to come back on the show because, as everybody who watches this show knows, and as the whole world knows at this point, Zack Snyder's Justice League finally came out, and I wanted to talk to you about it a little bit to sort of get your thoughts and opinions on it, because I genuinely, I tell everybody I know, like, what did you think of it? Tell me, like, let's talk about it. I genuinely want to get feedback. But before we get into that, I thought we could do a two-hander, because the last time you were on the show was, oh, geez, it was last year, before the new year.
Yeah.
And Wonder Woman 1984 also has come out since then. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that, because I know you and I sort of said a few things online, but we haven't had a chance to really like talk to each other about it. And I'm curious, like, what did you think of that movie? And yeah, like let's just get into it.
Okay, so Wonder Woman 84.
Yes.
I really enjoyed it. I know it kind of got panned, but yeah. I'm a person that doesn't really take critics' reviews into account, because it's inevitably, if they don't like it, I like it, and I'm just gonna like what I'm gonna like and it could be for the just one tiny reason that I love it, but I enjoyed it. I mean, there were aspects of it that it definitely, to me, didn't have the same feel as the first movie. The first movie was phenomenal. I loved it. Yeah. And I really like the second one. I mean, look, it was on HBO Max, and I probably, in that month, I probably watched it 5 times. So I obviously liked it. Yeah, I thought it was, look, I really like it. But I've also got a girl crush on, Gal, so.
Yeah. But
it was,
no, I agree with you 100%. Like, we did a whole episode about it, and I said basically the same thing. It was like, was it as good as the first one? No, but that doesn't mean it's bad.
Right.
Like, I enjoy it, and I'm in no way saying like it's perfect, like what you're saying. I had some issues with it here and there that were definitely flaws, but I enjoyed it. And, it has since come out on like Blu-ray and digital, whatnot. And it was last week, I believe, and I've been watching it over and over again on loop.
Well, that's what I mean. I'll buy it. I'm going to end up buying it. So.
Yeah, for sure. But so yeah, like let's start with, what were some of the things you didn't like about it?
So I really enjoyed the love story between her and Steve, but it felt a little forced at some points. I don't even know if that's the right word. The whole part where they're like trying on the clothes and all that, it was cute. Don't get me wrong. Look, I love, Steve, but I think especially that
like muscle shirt on and he was flexing his body. Even I was like, oh,
yeah. But I think that went on a little too long. And I think there was some anti-gun agenda going on. And look, I'm very liberal, but I'm also a liberal who,
right.
Let's not get into politics. But anyway, I just felt like there was a little bit of a political agenda going on that I could sense. And I don't ever notice that kind of stuff. But
well, it's funny you bring that up specifically, because I wouldn't even necessarily say it's anti-gun. I think it was just anti-weapon in general. Like, you'll notice Wonder Woman didn't even have her sword in this one.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
She didn't use her sword at all in the movie. And it's funny because like that got brought up on the press tour, and Patty Jenkins and Gal talked about it, and they said like, no, it was a conscious decision and I'm with you. I kind of don't agree with it. Because they were saying like they wanted to make her more nourishing and less nurturing, and less like brute, like they didn't want her to be such just rely on violence to sort of solve all the problems. And I get it.
I get it too.
But it's like, I don't know.
Because there's a lot of young girls watching it. I get it. But when I don't know, it was just a little too in your face, that agenda. Yeah. And even for me, like I said, that I was like, oh, did we really need that? Like,
no, I agree. And it's funny because like, again, we're going to talk about Justice League later, but it's like, having seen Wonder Woman 1984, where there's like very little reliance on weapons, and then you go and see what Zack did, which is like the opposite, and she's
Yes.
all about like it's I don't know. Again, like I love the first Wonder Woman movie, and I do enjoy this movie, but like I don't know. I feel like this is gonna sound so weird me saying it, but I feel like Zack kind of understands the character just a little bit better.
Yes.
But that's just me. But yeah, what else? What else?
Those were really the only two issues I had with it. Was the love story to me was a little. I love the love story. I mean, that's sort of the glue of
Yes,
of the movie, but
I agree.
I don't know. There was just something a little weird about it to me, that it almost just went on a little too long. But look, it did have me tearing up. I mean, it's a good movie, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I love the villains, both of them. I thought
Yeah.
they both did a great job. I really liked it. I just, the minor issues I had, they really were just minor issues. That's why, you know, I don't understand why people really didn't care for it. I
Yeah.
just couldn't. I was just like, I don't get it.
Yeah, no, it's weird because I had the same reaction that you did, where I was like, I really like this movie. It's not perfect, and then I heard like yeah, like it got like torn apart online, and I was like, did we watch the same movie? Like, cause like yes, I found flaws in it and found issues with it, and like you were saying, like the tiniest little nitpicks, tiny. And yeah, I kind of harped on them quite a bit, but and I always acknowledge that those are just tiny, tiny little nitpicks, though. But to see people have such a hard pass on the movie was just so weird to me.
Yes,
Like,
but
I really, yeah,
I almost got the impression that those were people who were not going to like it anyway. That they had decided that they had had enough of Wonder Woman and the hype of Wonder Woman and of Gal, and of that they, you know what I mean? There are those people who are just going to not like it for the sake of not liking it.
I think you're right, and I think it's this weird thing that happened last year. Is like we'll talk about 2020, because DC had two female-led superhero movies out last year. It was Birds of Prey, which I loved. It was my number one movie of the year last year, and I still love that movie, like phenomenal. And that movie came out, and it got really good reviews. But like, if you listen to people online talk about it, they will just tear that movie apart. And again, it's that thing where it's like, again, not to get too like into social, political, whatever it is, but I think a lot of people were just like, oh, it's a female-led movie, I don't want it, I don't care, it's garbage, it's not for me. And I was like, whatever, man, like you guys are missing out on really great movies here.
Yes.
If that's the attitude that you're going to have. And to this day, I see people saying crap like that about Birds of Prey, and it's like, that's one of my go-to movies right now. It's a comfort movie for me. Like I say it all the time, I'll put that on if I'm feeling down, and it makes me feel good. But same thing with like Wonder Woman, with Wonder Woman 1984. I was just watching it earlier today before we recorded, and it's like, yeah, no, I legitimately don't understand what if they had legit problems with it, fine. But if you're just like hating on it just to hate it, that's dumb. So
well, that's kind of the impression I got with the people who are saying they don't like Justice League. I think they're seeing 4 hours of movie and they're like, there's no need for 4 hours. There's no need for 4 hours, and I'm not going to watch it, and I don't want to hear about it. And they're just, either they're not giving it a chance, or they're looking for a reason to not accept it.
That's exactly what it was, because it's funny. I don't know if you saw it. It was, I think it was the week after Justice League came out. And I kind of engaged with two sort of haters on Twitter about it. Only the two. And I don't know if you've ever noticed this about me. Like, I never engage with like trolls or haters online.
Yeah, I don't.
I tend to just ignore them. And I don't know what maybe it's because I'm too close to the project or whatever it was. But these two just because they said the exact same thing. They used words like boring, or they were complaining about like the slow motion, which, granted, someone did the numbers. It's only 10% of the movie. Of a 4-hour movie, 10% of it is slow motion. And it's like, sure, I get that can get annoying for some people, but it's Zack Snyder. You knew he was going to do that. He's known for that. Like, But like I engaged with these two sort of haters, and it was like I was just like, like if the worst thing you can say about this movie is that it's boring, like you're really just looking for an excuse not to
Yeah.
like. So, and that's really all I said to either of them, and I just moved on. I was like, that try again, miss me with that one, like try again, try something else. But
Yeah. Okay, so the thing about these movies, this is don't get angry at me. These are DC movies, these are Marvel movies. What are these? Marvel. DC. Okay.
Yeah.
I am not like a huge fan of these kinds of movies. I enjoy them, but
Mhm.
I'm not the person who's going to be seeking them out. And like, I don't know the histories of all of these
Yeah.
characters other than the little bits as I've been growing up. So I think I'm coming from a perspective of like an everyday kind of person. I didn't even watch the original Justice League, which I think is probably good. I don't have anything
Oh
to
no, yeah,
compare it to,
much better off.
but I enjoyed it. And I don't know. Again, it's like I don't understand what people. Okay, and I will admit the slow motion thing. It was about the only thing. The
Mhm.
small flaw for
Yeah,
me was, but
yeah,
like you said, if that's a Zack Snyder thing, and that's fine, it's
yeah.
fine. It
Mhm.
wasn't over the top, but I enjoyed the movie a lot, actually. I had to
Yeah,
watch it in 4 sittings, though. But that almost was good to me because it was like a mini series. You know how
yeah,
it kind of broke it into chapters in the movies. I
yeah.
would stop at one of those chapters and then
Mhm.
watch it again the next night.
No, yeah, and that's like honestly, that's what Zach. That's why he did it that way. He knew like people were gonna need to like take a break here, take an intermission here and there. Um, but yeah, no, 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 and it's like I'm talking about like the two sort of haters I sort of engaged with online, but overwhelmingly, I feel like the reception to Justice League was much more positive. And I think that was also another reason why I did sort of engage with the two that I came across. Because it was like, we're all over here enjoying this thing. And you guys are just like, they're like the upset kids in the corner who were just angry that they weren't right, And
Yeah.
they just, nope, I'm right. It's bad. You guys don't know. So it's
It's
like,
and that's a pretty lame. It's
it
boring.
is.
I mean, you can't come up with anything more original than that. Or
Yeah.
a reason why is it boring to you? Can you at
Yeah.
least give me one little reason why you found it boring? Because if all the things, I would not say it's boring.
Yeah. For sure. No, that's what I took. Because, okay, so the first time I sat down to watch the movie, the finished movie, I was like, I was in that mindset. Okay, 4 hours long, man. Like, get ready, strap in. This is gonna be a thing. I kid you not. Like, the movie started, and again, like you and I are. You said like you're not like a huge fan. You don't really know the history or the lore or anything. I'm like the complete opposite, obviously. But like the movie started, and I'm sitting back in the chair looking up at the screen. The movie starts, and immediately I do this. And I was in it. I was in it for the full 4 hours. I didn't get up to use the restroom. I didn't like beginning to end. I stuck through the whole thing, and I was just like, when it was over, I was number one. I was emotional for a lot of reasons. And then I sort of just remembered sitting there with just everything, like everything I just seen, all the emotions I felt, and I was just like, and it was pretty late in the day too, like when it was over. And I was like, honestly don't even think I could sleep right now. Like if I tried to go to sleep, because I'm just so like
You were
energized.
wired. Yeah.
Yeah, I was. Because it's that thing about like these are characters obviously I love and I care about so much, and I'm so invested in them. And not even specifically these iterations of I mean, yes, I love these iterations of them. But just like you give me Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, all those guys, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm here. I want to see what these guys get up to. You know?
Okay. So when I went into it, I was actually nervous that I wasn't going to enjoy it and that it was too long. And I'm like, gosh, I hope I can finish it. And by the time I finished it, there was sort of this turn of like, that's it? It's over?
Yeah.
But where's my next episode? I want the next episode. And then
Yeah.
there was a little bit of an emotional thing where I'm like, you know what? You really got to know Batman in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it breaks my heart that it's not going to be the same Batman anymore. Right?
Well, it's funny you say that, because Ben is coming back. Like
I didn't hear that.
We've talked about it on the show. No, he's coming back. He is. Yes, Robert Pattinson is doing his thing, but Ben is still also Batman.
Okay.
Well, it's the multiverse, baby.
And so
and also, let me really blow your mind, Ella. Guess who else is going to be Batman?
Christian Bale.
Michael Keaton.
Oh.
Michael Keaton
Wow.
coming back to play Batman too. So yeah, there you go. Got all three of those guys coming to play Batman. It's gonna be.
Yeah. So
gonna
I didn't really know some of the characters were like totally new to me, where I didn't know who they were.
Yeah.
Obviously, I know the Flash character, but I don't really know the history of Flash. And I
Yeah.
just adored him. I just adore him. And now it makes me want to watch the series because there's a series.
Yeah.
And so it at least interested me in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, there was
no,
sort of this shift at the end of it where it's like I don't know how interested I'm going to be in this. You know, I love Superman. You know, I love Wonder Woman and Batman, but how much am I really going to love this movie? And there was a shift at the end of it where it's like, okay, I want more.
It's funny you bring up the Flash because that was a character. I mean, you said you've never seen the original theatrical release of the movie, and that was the character.
The one from eons ago, back in my day.
Right.
You remember the old original Flash way back in the early 80s.
I've got it over here on this shelf, so
Yeah.
I do have it. But I mean, you didn't see the theatrical cut of Justice League. You did not see that.
No.
Okay, so in that version of the movie, the way the character was sort of portrayed in that version, like, sort of turned people off. And I always knew it wasn't the actor, Ezra Miller, because I was a huge fan of his way before he got the part, and as soon as he was announced, I was like, oh, he's gonna kill it. He's gonna kill it. I know he is. But that version of the movie came out, and people really didn't like the version of the character in that movie, and so this movie got rid of all that stuff. Like, that was never any of Zack's stuff. Like, he had this weird thing about how he didn't understand what brunch was. Like, that was a weird, like, idiosyncrasy of the character that nobody liked. It was like, this doesn't make any sense. Why is he going on and on about brunch? And then there was just stupid stuff like that it was rewritten and reshot, you know, and nobody really liked it. And it's funny because last week I sort of encountered someone, and I don't remember how we got talking about it, but we were talking about The Flash and we were talking about the TV show, and he was like, this guy who I'd never met before, and he was like, yeah, I really like the TV show. I really like that guy who plays the Flash on the show. In the movie, I didn't really care for him. And I was like, have you seen Zack Snyder's Justice League? And he said, no, not yet. I just got HBO Max. And I was like, trust me, watch it, and you'll do a 180 on that version of the character. Like, and he had this look of like joy on his face after I told him that. like he did one of these, like, oh, I can breathe now. Like apparently he was still like, oh, the character's still gonna suck. And I was like, no, he does not. So
yeah, I really like Superman's comeback in this, because the last movie I saw with all three of them was Batman versus so that was the last, and I actually recently just watched that. So for me, he was still dead.
Yeah.
So I didn't know how he had come back, or I didn't know any of that.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. So you've been waiting for a while.
A few years.
Yeah, just a few. It's been
3 years.
5 years.
No. So
Batman vs Superman came out in 2016.
No, did it really come out that long ago? Oh my gosh, I didn't realize it.
Yeah, and Justice League, the theatrical cut, came out in 2017, so that's been 4 years. So Yeah, you've been waiting a while.
Well, and now, okay, please tell me that Henry Cavill is also coming back as Superman.
Mm,
Oh,
I okay, look, I'll tell you some things after we're done recording.
look, I'm just telling you, there will never be another Superman for me. I'll watch it, but my heart is not going to be in it. He is
I hear,
Superman to me.
I hear you. I hear you 100%. However, can I interest you in Superman and Lois, the TV show that's currently on the air?
Oh, I didn't even know that was. See, I don't watch television, and I watch movies,
Yeah.
but I don't
Well,
watch series at all.
there's a new Superman series. It's really good. And Tyler Hoechlin, the guy who plays Superman, he's not even new. Like he's been playing the characters since 2016, oddly enough. But they finally gave him his own TV show, and it's really good. We do weekly reviews on the show. So yeah, we're all really enjoying it, and he's really good. But I'm with you. I love Henry. I love Henry so much as Superman. Like he's so, like, oh man, yeah. I love this cast. Like I really love Henry. I love Ben. I love Gal, Jason Momoa, Ezra Miller, Ray Fisher. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
I
so I
love all
didn't
of them.
even know the character of Victor. So what is his like character name? In
Cyborg.
okay, I
Yeah,
didn't.
I've got an animated version of Cyborg right here on my shelf.
Yeah, so I didn't know that character. That one was new to me. And the one at the end, the guy that shapeshifted
Oh,
into Martha.
oh yeah, Martian Manhunter. Martian
Yes.
Manhunter. Yeah, that was the one that I sort of prepped someone else about that character being in the movie, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna give you this one, like, because we were doing the Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman rewatch leading up to it, and I was like, okay, I want you to pay attention in this scene, like Zach actually set it up all the way back in Man of Steel. And they were like, okay. Like I gave them hints. I was like, look what happens here. Look at this. Look at that. All right. You caught up? Yeah. And so when we got to Justice League and that scene happened, this person audibly like I want to say it was a squeal because it was like just this high pitched sound that came out and just like the shocked face. And I
So
was
sure,
just
you're saying I'm gonna have to go back and watch those? Because I own those too.
if you want to, I'll tell you what to look for in Man of
Okay.
Steel specifically. So there's the scene where, after Superman has given himself over to the military, it's right before he goes to meet General Zod for the first time. He's in the interrogation room and he's like handcuffed, and they have the conversation between him and Lois. And General Swanwick, the same person that you see as Martian Manhunter in this movie, they interrupt him and whatnot, and he's like, God, I don't remember what it is he says, but Superman says, let's put our cards on the table, General. And he breaks the handcuffs and walks towards the mirror. Keep your eyes on General Swanwick because you'll see everybody backs away from the mirror afraid. He does not move at all. He stands right there firm at the mirror. And then there's more in that very same scene. So the way Zack shot it, you see Superman talking to the mirror, right? And you see the reflection. It's Superman and Superman reflected in the mirror. So it's an alien and an alien. And then they do the reverse shot and you see General Swanwick talking to Superman. It's an alien talking to an alien. Like Zack set that up all the way back in Man of Steel, and he was hinting at it really heavily in that one scene, and nobody picked up on it.
No.
So, yeah. It's really cool. It's like really cool little visual cues that he put in the movie like that. It's stuff like that was really fun for me to kind of show people. So
So this version of Justice League,
mhm.
who is the studio that funded
Warner
it or
Warner Brothers. They own DC Comics, like how Disney owns Marvel.
yeah.
It's
So they obviously had approved the original Justice League. And was there really just such an outcry for this version of it? Because I've never heard of a studio saying, okay, go ahead and remake the movie.
Well, it's
I mean, I know they had all the footage. I know they
Right.
already had all it. It was just recutting it.
Right. Okay, so you all right. So like obviously Zack Snyder shot this version of the movie back in 2016. And this is I don't know how much of the story you know. So
I don't know any of it.
okay. So after Batman versus Superman came out, again, like we were talking about with Wonder Woman 1984, that was a movie that had a very polarizing reaction from fans. Like people either loved it or they hated it. And the people who hated it were very vocal about their hatred for it. And that made Warner Brothers like very nervous moving forward. And Zack was already working on Justice League when Batman versus Superman had come out. Like he was already full on into production. He was already shooting. And so when that negative reaction hit, Warner Brothers like they were like, hold on a second, like we need to like really, really know everything you plan on doing. Everything like they started micromanaging the movie, which is never a good thing. And then in 2017, again, like man, this is gonna get really weird if you don't know everything. You're aware of how Joss Whedon is not really a good person.
Yeah.
In 2017, they brought Joss Whedon in to rewrite the movie and reshoot a lot of the movie. And like Zack Snyder was dismissed from, and it was really messed up what they did to him because Zack Snyder's daughter passed away in 2017. She committed suicide. And imagine how heartbreaking that was for him and his wife while they're in this battle with the studio over a movie that they're trying to get made. And so your daughter is now gone. And the studio who hired you to do a job and essentially had all faith in you to do that job, suddenly they're like, well, we don't really believe in what you're doing anymore, so we're going to bring in someone else to finish it. And Warner Brothers, and like I say Warner Brothers, but those people who were in charge at the time are no longer in charge. Like
Okay.
Warner Brothers now is not the same Warner Brothers. But so they used the idea. They used Autumn's death as an excuse to let Zack go because they were like, he just suffered this tragedy, this loss. He's gonna go be with his family. We're gonna, move on and hope we're gonna finish his movie. Like that's how they said it, and that's not at all what happened. That's not at all what really happened. Like yes, the tragic thing of Autumn Snyder taking her whole life, like that was real. That was very real. But it was just awful how they used that to manipulate the narrative of what was going on. So, but Zack and his wife, his producer Deborah, they left the movie, and Warner Brothers, just like they said they were going to do, they rewrote 75% of the movie, reshot 75% of the movie, put that version out in theaters, and people did not like that version of the movie. Like, did not like it. You're aware of the memes with the CGI Henry Cavill face?
No.
Because when they came back to do the reshoots, he was already shooting Mission Impossible Fallout, where he has the facial hair. And Paramount, who does the Mission Impossible movies, would not let him shave it. They were like, you are contractually obligated to keep the facial hair. It's like, you cannot, if you shave it, we're going to sue you. And so Warner Brothers was like, fine, we'll just CGI out the facial hair. And it did not work at all. It was,
oh my gosh.
It looked so bad. And what's worse is the theatrical cut of the movie opens up on a shot with the CGI mouth. And I remember sitting in theaters watching that and I was like, oh no, like this is not good. And the whole movie, Superman, Cyborg, and I think Aquaman were the three who suffered the worst from reshoots in that movie. Like almost all of Superman, definitely all of Cyborg, was reshot for the theatrical cut, and it shows. Boy, does it show. If you have a morbid fascination and inclination to do so, check out the theatrical cut now that you've seen Zach's version, and just to see like how bad it is. It is not good at all.
So is the movie that different, the theatrical version? Is it really drastically different than what is out now?
Yes. The characters are depicted so differently. Like I said, everybody hated the Flash in the theatrical cut. Cyborg is almost non-existent in the theatrical cut, and he's the heart of the movie.
He's pretty important in it.
Yeah, he's very important. He's like almost non-existent in the theatrical cut. Wonder Woman, Batman. I think Batman suffers really badly too, because poor Ben, like he was on already like such a roller coaster of like, when he got cast, people hated him for it. But then, people saw Batman vs. Superman, and even if they hated the movie, they liked his performance. Mm-hmm. So he was like, okay, people seem to like me, but they don't like this movie that I did. Fine, we'll do Justice League. He was doing Justice League, and then obviously everything happened with Zack. Zack had to leave. They brought in a new director to sort of rewrite the movie, but like at that point, Ben was just so over it that he was like, look, I'll come back and reshoot what you want me to reshoot because I'm obligated to do so, but I'm not going to work out for 5 hours a day again. And it's noticeable. He looks hefty in the theatrical cut. Whereas in Zach's version of the movie, you'll notice like he's looking cut, he looks good, he looks like he did in Batman vs. Superman. But again, if you do watch the theatrical cut, you'll see Ben in that movie and be like, oh my, it's like, who is this, Batman or Fat?
It's Batman post-pandemic.
Yeah, exactly. No, he looks awful in the theatrical cut. And that's saying a lot.
Now it makes me want to see it just to compare it, to see.
I think you should just for the comparison, because it's such a fascinating story. But yeah, so to answer your question, the theatrical cut came out, nobody liked it. And almost immediately, because everybody who saw it in theaters knew that was not Zack's movie. His name is on the movie. It still says directed by Zack Snyder. But that is not a Zack Snyder movie. And we all knew it the moment we saw it. So almost immediately people online started like petitioning and campaigning to see Zack's version of the movie. And I've told this story on this show a couple times where originally I was like, that's never going to happen. We're never going to end up seeing it. The movie is what it is. Let's just move on. But in 2019, all that changed for me, like in a big bad way. So in 2019, Zack had like an event where you could go and attend it. It was 3 days, and each day was watching one of his director's cuts of one of his movies. The first one was Dawn of the Dead. The second one was Watchmen. The third one was Batman vs. Superman. And on the first day, you watch the movie. We watched Dawn of the Dead. There was a Q&A with Zack afterwards. All went exactly like you think it would go. Watch Watchmen on the second day, Q&A with Zack. Everything goes exactly how. And everybody, I guarantee you, Ella, everybody, the audience, I guarantee you, even Zack knew this was going to happen. And I'm kind of curious if this is why he did it. Because we got into the screening room and everybody kind of looked at each other like, who's going to do it? Like, we're all thinking it, right? Like, who's going to do it? I'm not going to do it. Who's going to do it? Watch the movie, Q&A starts. And for the first 2 or 3 questions, it's like, what about this from the movie or that, blah, blah, blah. And then we all kind of were looking around at each other, and someone immediately asked him about Justice League. And that's when the floodgates opened up. Zack, he didn't hold back at all. He told us what his original intention was with Justice League and moving forward. Like, I'm talking Justice League Part 2, Justice League Part 3. He told us everything. And when I tell you, when he finished, everybody in that screening room was just in stunned silence. I've never understood the phrase deafening silence until that night. Like, we were all just like, what? And that was the night that changed it for me, because I immediately was like, no, 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 hashtag release the Snyder Cut. I'm in this movement now. We need to see that movie. The people need to see this movie. And that's how it, and from there on, the hype, the momentum just kept building and building. Every time Zack, he would drop images or, like pieces of concept art from his version of the movie, and we would all just rally behind it and rally behind him. And again, I always make the point to clarify, like, yes, there were some toxic people in the movement, and I've disowned them every chance I get, and I'll do it right now. Like, I don't associate with those people. I do not condone their behavior online. And I always make a point to remind people, those of us who remain civilized online, we're the ones who did all the, like, we did fundraising for AFSP. We're the ones who got Subway to donate all those sandwiches to people in need Christmas 2019. We did work that we were proud of, in the name of Zack Snyder, in the name of his daughter, Autumn Snyder. That's why the cause we chose was AFSP, the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Because we knew that was part of what, part of Zack's grief. So that's why we specifically chose suicide prevention as the cause we were going to back. And so, we did all the fundraising for them. We did, we did all that stuff. Like, I hope that's what people remember us for most. But like, Zack would drop this information on us. He would give us images and stuff. And every time he did so, we would rally, hashtag release the Snyder Cut. And for me, it was 2 years of campaigning. And then, there was one day, I'll remember it. I will remember it for the rest of my life, Ella. November 17th, 2019. That was the day we won. Because that was the day Zack, he called on us. He said, on the 17th of November, I need you guys to make as much noise as you possibly can. Because that was the anniversary of the theatrical release, November 17th. And bright and early, November 17th, 2019, everybody showed up. And not even just those of us in the movement, but like Ben Affleck showed up. He tweeted out, release the Snyder Cut. Jason Momoa, Gal, and people who were in no way connected to the movie, Dave Bautista, Damon Lindelof. There were so many people who were on board that day. And we found out afterwards the reason Zack said, make as much noise as you can on that day. He was having meetings. He was having a meeting with Warner Brothers on that day about potentially putting his movie together and releasing it. And he said, they need to see that there's a demand for it. So show it to them. And we did. Like, as soon as the day was over, we asked him, it was like, how'd we do? How'd we do? He's like, you guys did fantastic. You did amazing. And we were like, all right, cool. And it wasn't for another couple months afterwards that we got the official confirmation, the big announcement. But that I knew that was the day that it changed, because the day after, Zack changed the hashtag. It wasn't release the Snyder Cut. It was hashtag Zack Snyder's Justice League. And I think I was the only one who picked up on it. I was like, guys, I think we did it. I think we did it. But yeah, so it was that. And that's how big it was. Like, it really, they were like, we can't afford to ignore it anymore. So yeah, let's put the movie out. And here we are.
I know, it's very cool. I mean, it's like the sort of thing that you never, that's why I remember seeing the hashtag release the Snyder Cut. And I was also like, this is never going to happen. These, I commend these people for their loyalty, but I really never thought it was going to happen. So when it did happen, I was also like, what? They're really going to, I'd never heard of that happening before. So.
Yeah. No, yeah, like, for sure. And I tell people now, but when we were campaigning for it and rallying, there were times, like, legitimately where I was like, I don't think it's going to happen. Like, we're making all this noise. I don't think it's going to happen. But I stuck with it, like even when doubt crept in my mind, I was like, look, like number one, it's not right what they did, you know,
Yeah.
to Zack and to the movie. And number two, it's like it's funny because I brought this up the last episode I recorded with a guest. It's like Zack Snyder is like the nicest dude in the world. He's genuinely like the kindest, sweetest guy. I'm sure he would hate me calling him sweet, but he's a very kind individual. And if there's anyone in the world who did not deserve all those things that happened, it's him.
So I wonder if what happened with Joss Whedon when everything sort of started coming out about him was also part of the catalyst of what, you know,
yeah, I think
like that played into it.
I think so. Like they quickly sort of threw Joss under the bus, like as soon as all that started coming out. Like I don't know if you saw, like he was doing a new show for them on HBO Max, The Nevers, which the show is still coming out, but like they let him go. And I actually tweeted it out. I was like, "Ooh, somebody got fired." So
what was the name of the show?
The Nevers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like it's just now coming out. But yeah, he got fired from that show. So take that for, you know, however you want.
So I didn't realize Zack Snyder also directed The Watchmen.
Yeah.
I love that movie. And that's one of them that when I bring it up, people don't know what I'm talking about. A lot of people just don't know what I'm talking about. I love that movie, and it's just it's such a different movie, and it's dark. You know, I like dark. It's a very dark movie.
Yeah.
But I like it.
Watchmen is, I always tell people, it's my favorite comic book of all time, the comic book by Alan Moore. And for the longest time, Hollywood deemed it unfilmable, but Zack Snyder filmed it. So
yeah, it's a really good movie. And the cast, oh my gosh, the cast is so good in it.
And you'll notice he reuses a lot of that cast in these movies. So
yeah.
No, he did Watchmen. Like I said, he did Dawn of the Dead. Dawn of the Dead was his first feature-length film. And then he did 300, which that was the one that really made him like superstar director. And
look, I know of 300, but don't judge me. I've never seen it. I've seen clips of it, but I've never seen it.
I was going to say, that seems like a movie you'd be in heaven watching.
Just because it's a thirst trap?
Yeah, like ripped, shirtless dudes for 2 hours. Like, come on. Like, that's totally something you'd be watching.
But no, I've never seen that.
That's crazy to me. Oh, man. It's a really good movie, too. It's really good. Yeah, he did that. He did Watchmen. He did one of which I only saw last year, oddly enough. As big a fan of Zack as I am, he did an animated movie called Legend of the Guardians, The Owls of Ga'Hoole, which is really good.
Yeah, I know of it, but I've never seen it.
That movie's really good, and I hadn't seen it until last year, and I was blown away by it. Then he did Sucker Punch, which is another movie that gets hated on for the dumbest reasons, because the way it was advertised was like, just come watch hot chicks kick butt for an hour and a half, and the people went and saw it, and the movie is like anti-sexism and very much like girl power, and you know, and people were like, this isn't the movie you sold us on. It's like, well, the movie's called Sucker Punch for a reason. The audience got sucker. That's legitimately what the title of the movie means. It's like you go into the movie expecting it to be like, we're just going to drool all over hot chicks for an hour and a half, and then it's like a morality lesson in why men are garbage. And like,
what is it with society's like rejection of girl power movies?
I have no idea. I love that movie because of that, and obviously, like Zack Snyder directed the hell out of it. But I love that that's the movie it was. It's like, oh, you thought we were just gonna put women in skimpy outfits and let you ogle them for an hour and a half. It's like, nah, we're gonna tell you why you're garbage and why you need to change your life and why. It's brilliant. I love that. And then his first movie after that movie was Man of Steel, and then here we are. So yeah,
And now that you're mentioning the one about the owls, I'm wondering if I've seen that.
you might have seen it. Yeah,
It sounds,
it's a really good movie.
yeah, I can't remember if we saw it or not, but I know of it.
Yeah, it's really good. Well, like again, I only just recently saw it last year, and visually, it was just so gorgeous to look at. There's a scene in the movie. I legitimately just broke into tears just watching it because it was just so gorgeous to look at. I had never seen anything so beautiful in my life before. But yeah, it's a really good movie. So definitely check it out if you haven't. But yeah, so oh wow, so I just did all that. I've sort of been babbling for like 30
No,
minutes.
that's all right. You explained a lot to me. I was hoping that this would be this would be educational because I was nervous about doing this because I thought I'm not really one of those super fans. I'm just sort of your regular person who watched it. And while I am a fan of the other movies, I don't know the backstory of all of this.
Yeah.
But even saying that, I enjoyed the movie a lot. I really liked it a lot.
Well, good. That's what I was hoping. And I know that about you. I know you're not like a big like comic book aficionado like
Right.
I am. But that's honestly why I love getting your opinions on these sorts of things because you are an outsider, and in a lot of ways, I think that those opinions matter just as much as the opinions to people like me. You know, so yeah. So like, what were some of your favorite parts about like what really stood out to you?
I like that each character had its own sort of arc
Hmm.
that they each had their own little section so you got to know each of them
Yeah,
before it went into the big story,
yeah,
the little chapters on each of them. And so even if I had seen a movie about them, it was almost like a refresher of them. And
yes,
I liked that they intentionally kind of kept the Superman part of it till closer till the end, because then it was more like a really big reveal. Like you knew that
yeah,
obviously he was going to come back, but I didn't know how.
yeah,
Um, so for me, it was even more exciting because look, it's Henry first of all, but I didn't realize like that whole like when he came back, he had the amnesia thing. I
yeah,
love that where he comes back like he is an alien. He's an alien looking at these people like these are my enemy.
yeah, exactly.
And
And
so,
it's funny because that scene it's in the theatrical cut. It's one of the only things Zach shot that they kept for the theatrical cut. And that scene is like when that was the only version of the movie that existed, that's the scene that everybody was like, that was cool. That was really
yeah.
awesome. Well, there's a reason. Like Zach shot that. Like that's one of his scenes. Like there's a reason that's everybody's favorite scene from that movie. But
And
yeah.
I like that it was love. I mean, I kind of suspected that it would be Lois coming to
Yeah.
him that was going to sort of jar his memory.
Yeah.
I, you know, there were so many things I liked about it. I liked the backstory. I liked the story about the Amazon women.
Yes.
I really like the fight scenes, which
Hmm.
I'm not huge on super actiony movies, but
Yeah.
I really just liked it overall. The way you got it in little bite-sized pieces, and then at the final, you just get this massive like
Yeah.
meal. Like little appetizers to the meal.
Yes. Exactly. And in that way, it is very much like reading a comic book, where when you have like these big team ups, there will be one issue dedicated to one character and their story, sort of what they're after, and then you'll get another issue with another character, and then eventually you get like the big team up where they're like, okay, we're here now, bad guy, let's go do that. So
Okay, so some of it was confusing to me, and I know it's because I don't really know the backstory.
mhm.
But the ones that were um, ultimately trying to destroy the Earth, the ones that were searching for the boxes. I don't know what their deal is. Like, why do they hate Earth so much? Like, what did we do to them? And I know it was because of the fight from the many years before, and the Amazon women and everybody. So it was sort of like what happened now sort of happened back then too, and we defeated them. But I'm like, who are these guys? I don't know who they are.
Well, Darkseid.
Yes, Darkseid. Yeah.
The big bad guy, the big not Steppenwolf, the one that they actually fought, but Darkseid.
Yeah.
His whole thing is he's I guess it wasn't really explained a lot. And that's just me being a comic book fanboy, and I'm like, oh, Darkseid, yeah, I know what he's all about. His whole thing is like he wants the entire universe to submit to his will, even if he has to take their free will away from them. Like, that's how much of a narcissist he is. You know what I mean?
An egomaniac. Like, really?
Yeah. He's like, everyone will bend to my will, and if you don't, I will strip your free will away from you. And the way he can do that is there's an ancient weapon or power, whatever you want to call it. They do refer to it by name in the movie, the anti-life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what that does is if he uses it, it will strip all living beings of their free will, therefore essentially making them slaves to Darkseid. And that's really all he wants. He just wants to command the entire universe, Okay,
and also, I mean, now I know it was Bruce's dream of like the future, but you almost kind of get the impression that he has sort of almost an ability to foresee the future a little bit, because he had said where he had seen something happen and it did come to pass. And then it jumps to that section. I'm like, wait, what is going on? Why is it in the future? Don't tell me this is what's really happened now. And then you realize it's a dream, but then you're like, yes, but is this a premonition to the future? Because he had said before that something similar had happened where he had seen something in the future.
Yeah, he's referring to in Batman versus Superman when he had, you remember he had a similar nightmare in that movie. And here's what I will say to you, Ella. Was it a dream? Was it just a dream?
I don't know. I think it's him predicting the future. But no, because then no, that's not the future I want for them.
I'm not gonna say just Justice League Part 3. Let's once that movie comes out, we'll talk. But no, very much like, yes, that's all, that stuff is in both of those movies for a reason. I will say that. So there you go.
So that part did confuse me a little bit for the first few minutes that I was watching. Then I'm like, what am I watching?
Oh, let me ask you something about that. So obviously Jared Leto came back to play the Joker. Did you and I ever talk about Jared as the Joker? Like, no. I don't think we ever did.
So I haven't seen Suicide Squad. I saw part of it, and I have not seen Birds of Prey.
Right.
I've seen part of it.
You should watch Birds of Prey. It's great.
Yeah, and we own it too, and I haven't seen it.
It's fantastic. Like, legitimately, I think you'll like it, because it's the way I described it to people was like, it's a breakup movie.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Well, that's the part I saw about it. It was definitely her sort of acting out after breaking up.
Yeah, it's a breakup movie, and I tell people this all the time. Like, I feel like it will be this generation's breakup movie, because I haven't seen one in a while, and I feel like this is definitely going to be that for a generation of kids. So, but yeah, I really love it. I think it's fantastic.
Jared Leto is so creepy. I adore Jared Leto. You know, he's so beautiful, and to see him in that role, like, I had almost forgotten that he was the Joker, and it's such a departure in appearance for him that when I first saw him in that profile shot, I'm like, wait a minute. Oh my God, that's Jared. That's right. And he's just so sinister in it, you know?
Yeah.
But it was good. He was good.
Yeah. No, that entire confrontation between Batman and the Joker, the first time I watched it, I've said it before, but I mean, like, I was literally on the edge of my seat, just staring at the screen, like, oh, come on. Like, it was that,
Yeah.
the tension between the two of them, the way.
You're like, is
I
Batman
just-
gonna kill him? Is he gonna just do it? Like, you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the tension was such that you really didn't know what was going to happen. Like, I watched it with my father, like, eventually, and even he was like, he's going to punch him in the face right
Yeah.
now. He said that out loud.
And
Even
then the
and my
part
dad
where
was
they.
kind of hard to get a reaction.
Oh.
So
And then the part where they said he's found us, I'm like, who? And then to see who came down, I'm like, no, wait, what? And then he wakes up. I'm like, okay, this some bullshit. What did I just watch? Because then that's when I realized, okay, it's a dream, but he sort of sees the future.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, the whole thing is, I know it's the running joke of, well, what's your superpower? I'm rich.
Yeah.
But he kind of does have a superpower in that he can,
Yeah. Well, it's the way Zack says that it works. It's not necessary, and this is like, because when I tell you this, it's going to be like, wait, so if that's how it works, then what was happening when he had that nightmare? Because we don't see. But okay, so the way it works is like in Batman versus Superman, he has the nightmare, and it's right before. I don't know if you remember this or how well you remember it. Like, he has the nightmare in Batman versus Superman, and like, he fell asleep at his computer in the Batcave, and after he has the nightmare, he wakes up, but the Flash is there, and he's like in Justice League, he says, I had a vision, and Barry Allen was right there, and he was telling me, and so he's telling him, like, it's Lois Lane, she's the key, and then he disappears, right? And the last thing says, find us, Bruce, you have to find us, and then he disappears. And it's that thing where it's like, wait, what just happened? Like, what was that weird apocalyptic world we just saw? Why the F was the Flash there in the Batcave? That was odd. And even Bruce is like shaken by it,
Yeah.
And then, okay, so then in Justice League, you remember when they're trying to bring Superman back to life? You see Cyborg, he's jacked into the Kryptonian ship, and they're doing the countdown and everything. And then he has a vision of things. And it's right before Barry, the Flash, takes off to charge.
And he tries to tell him to abort the mission, basically.
So the way Zack explains it is, whenever the Flash is moving fast enough to break the barrier, or essentially to enter the Speed Force, if he's moving that fast, the way time reacts to him moving that fast can affect other people in the vicinity. That's why when he shows up in the Batcave, Bruce has the nightmare right before Barry shows up. That's also why in the ship, Cyborg has the vision right before Barry takes off. So at the end of Justice League, Bruce has another nightmare.
But it's right before the Martian.
Well, we know he has the nightmare, and we know that it's connected to the way time reacts to Barry. So what was he doing that Bruce had another nightmare?
I
know the answer, but I'm not going to tell anybody. So just something to think about.
Okay. No, I'm going to have to rewatch it. Okay.
And there is a clue of it in the movie if you're paying attention. You'll see. So I'll even tell you. So right before we go into that part, there's like the big, like, joyous thing where Cyborg is listening to his father's words on the tape, right?
Yeah.
And you sort of see everybody where they're at and hints of where they're going. You see the Flash running through a city, and he just like disappears. He completely disappears from where he was.
Right.
So, there you go. There you go. But yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about
Okay.
what's supposed to happen now, because I remember leading up to this movie's release, I kind of told some people too many things that I shouldn't have. So now I'm just like, I'm keeping my mouth shut. I know things. I know what's supposed to happen.
But at least now I feel sort of up to date, caught up to date of what's happened. Like I said, the last movie I'd seen was, Batman versus Superman. So.
Right. Oh man. So yeah. Wow. I feel like this episode just turned into me like explaining things to you.
Yes, but that'll be good. That'll be good for people like me who.
Yeah, like it's good for you, and it's good for other people who might have the same questions. So.
And they're too embarrassed to be like, I'm one of those people who don't have a clue. But I don't want to be one of those people where I'm just like, oh yeah, totally. Because then you're going to ask me something where I'm like, oh crap, I can't wing it now.
Like,
hold on, let me Google that. And there's just no way to Google that.
Yeah, exactly. You're just like, Google, what did this mean in the movie when this happened? And Google's like, I don't know. So, were there any other questions you had since we're here already?
I don't think so. I'm sure I'll come up with something when we're done, but.
Right, as is always the case.
Yes, but yeah, Darkseid was the main thing that I was like, who are these guys?
Right.
And so I was actually getting them confused with the Infinity Wars.
Mm-hmm. Thanos.
Yes. And I'm like, is this Thanos? Is this Thanos? What is going on?
Well, there's a reason for that. And this is, people always hate when I say this, but it's 100% true. Thanos is basically a ripoff of Darkseid. Darkseid was created, I'm going to have to Google the exact year, but Darkseid predates Thanos. And the creator of Thanos has even admitted as much as like, yeah, I just stole.
Well, they even kind of look alike.
Yeah, he's like, I stole Darkseid's appearance, and I gave Thanos Metron's chair, and that's Thanos. Metron is another character that regularly interacts with Darkseid and the Justice League as well. But
yeah, because he even, like I said, he even kind of looks like him.
Yeah, no, like it's legitimately, he took the appearance of Darkseid. It's but like that sort of stuff happens in the comic books all the time. It's ridiculous. Like
well, that's with fiction in general.
I know Deadpool, like that's the one everybody knows and recognizes, but he is a ripoff of Deathstroke, who appears in this movie in Justice League. And again, even the creator of Deadpool is like, yeah, I just stole Deathstroke.
Who's
like,
Deathstroke? Was he in this?
He is. When you see Lex Luthor at the end,
yeah,
the guy who comes up and talks to him on the boat, that's Deathstroke.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he was there in the nightmare scene as well.
Yes. Yeah, yes, that's right. Because I'm like, wait, now he's on Batman's side?
Again, there are, things, there are answers. I'm not gonna say anything right now. Okay, so Darkseid made his first appearance in a comic book in November 1970. Now, let me pull up Thanos. He made his first appearance in 1973. A whole 3 years later. And like Deathstroke and Deadpool, Deathstroke was created in 1981. Deadpool was created in 1990. I have those dates memorized. So yeah, it happens all the time in comic books. And like when certain people get attached to one of the characters and you tell them, oh, they're just a ripoff of this other character, they get like super upset. Like, what? How dare you? It's my favorite character. He's not a ripoff. It's like, well, he is. I'm not saying he's a bad character, but like,
I guess a better way to put it is he was inspired by.
Yeah, inspired. It's an homage.
Yeah, that's right. Because you see that in, fiction all the time too. Like,
you really do. Yeah. Like, someone said this to me. It's like all art steals from other art.
Yes.
And it's 100% true. So, and
That's
again,
why.
like
That's why they
that,
say there are no original ideas anymore.
there really aren't. And that's why I say, I guess I should stop saying like, oh, he's a ripoff, because I think that's what people get upset about. But like like I said, the creator of Thanos, he's really, yeah, I just ripped off Darkseid. And Rob Liefeld, who created Deadpool, was like, no, yeah, I just stole Deathstroke. Even their names, their civilian names, Deathstroke is Slade Wilson, Deadpool is Wade Wilson.
Oh, jeez.
It's literally just copy paste. Like, it's ridiculous. But no, and like, I love Deathstroke, I love Deadpool, I love both of them. So like, it's not even that I'm upset about it. It's just like, I feel like it's my duty to inform people, I guess. So yeah. But yeah,
well, then I guess it was legitimate that I really thought, like, why is this guy? He reminds me of Thanos. Is this somehow related to Thanos?
Yeah, no. I mean, sort of, in the way
It's a
that
multiverse. Yes, he is.
And it's funny because Marvel and DC, they did a comic book crossover where they had characters fight each other, and Darkseid whooped Thanos like it wasn't even close. So, but yeah, Darkseid is like, he's the big bad in the DC universe. Like, it's when Darkseid shows up, like, it's basically the end of the world. Like that, yeah. He's pretty bad dude. Let's put it that way.
Okay, I know what I wanted to ask. So Steppenwolf, why was poor old Steppenwolf the outcast that he felt like he just had to be proving himself? What had he done that?
He attempted a coup against Darkseid.
Oh.
And he failed. And so he was then exiled from Apocalypse, which is the name of the planet that they're from. So that's what it was. He attempted to seize power from Darkseid, which is a no-no, and failed. Therefore, he was exiled. And in the movie, he says, he was like, I saw my mistake and I attempted to correct it. But he's like, no, you still owe the Great One 10,000 more worlds. That is your debt. And until you've paid that debt, you cannot come back home. So, yeah, he's basically, like I said, like he tried to take power when he shouldn't have, and now he's paying the consequence for it.
He was no match to Superman. Like, I just love how Superman, it just basically leans over. It's like, he just blows on him.
Then punches it, just destroys the axe. I know, I love that. Oh my god, it was so good.
Where he was doing something and he looked at him and said, not impressed.
And I love that was his sort of reintroduction as Superman. He just shows up and he's like, not impressed. Just, bam! Just,
yeah.
Love it. So good. Which, by the way, nowhere in the theatrical cut. So.
Yeah, that's a great scene.
It's a great scene. I love it. Also, I love the music when he appears and does that, because it's the Superman theme song from Man of Steel, and it just comes in so triumphantly, and you're just like, yes! I love it. So good.
Who did the music in that again? I saw it at the beginning in the credits.
This version of the movie, Zack Snyder specifically, Tom Holkenborg, who is better known as Junkie XL.
Okay, I don't know how I knew his name as his original name, though. I don't know what
he does other movie scores, and he was credited as Junkie XL for a long time, but he then started using his real name.
Okay.
So, yeah, and he did the score for Batman vs Superman as well. So, but yeah, no, I love the score. I love the score in this movie. So much better than the theatrical cut, because they didn't even use Junkie XL's music in that version.
No, it's a really good movie.
Yeah.
All of it. Like I said, I watched it in snippets, but it worked out good that way for me. So.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the characters are so much more improved. The plot makes way more sense. So, but yeah, no. It's yeah, like I said, for me, it's I could go on and on about it all day, and I have multiple times. But was there anything else you wanted to sort of mention or talk about?
I don't think so. I enjoyed it. I'm glad we got to talk about it. I got some questions answered because I know there wasn't anybody else who could answer my questions about it.
Exactly, that's what I'm here for. So, although, yeah, I feel like more people like if certain things didn't make sense to you or you didn't understand, like just ask me. I'll tell you. I mean, I won't tell you spoilers about anything moving forward, obviously, but I'll do my best. So.
And good, you didn't make me feel, like I said, I know a lot of people won't ask about it because they don't want to seem dumb, but
Yeah. Well, I mean,
fine.
I used to do that like when I was younger, but nowadays I'm just like, dude, get over yourself, man. Like, obviously, not everybody spent 30 years of their lives studying this stuff. So, like, no, like, I totally get it. It's like, oh, okay, like, you just don't know. Like, well, here, let me tell you. So,
And look, I'm the same at work. You get people in the medical field who they just don't want to admit they're wrong. I'm the first to be like, hey, I don't know. Can you
yeah,
explain that to me,
yeah,
please?
exactly. No, yeah, and I feel like that's the bet. Like, why are you going to try and bullshit your way through something that you clearly don't know?
Because
I mean,
people can tell when you're trying to bullshit your way through it, and that's when you get called out. I don't want to get called out like that.
and getting called out, especially in front of other people, is the worst thing
Yes.
in the world. It's so like embarrassing and humiliating. No, yeah, I'm with you. I will just admit that I'm wrong and be like, hey, look, I'm wrong. I don't know. Like, you want to explain this to me? Like, that's cool.
I think we're both just too chilled out to be like, I just, like you said, I don't engage with people. 2 + 2 is 5. Okay, if you say so. I'm
Like,
not going to
sure.
argue with you about that.
Exactly. I'm like, all right, man. Enjoy that. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go. That's cool. But yeah, no, I genuinely like talking to you about this sort of thing because again, it's like if you enjoy it, that's always cool because I like hearing what you enjoyed, and then like, you asking questions because it makes me feel smart.
Well, I'm glad I could help with that.
Thank you, thank you. I needed that. My weekly affirmations. No, you
You're,
know things. You know things. So things that aren't necessarily important, but I mean, you know things. So.
that's it. Like I'm a well of useless knowledge. I mean,
Me too.
oh yeah. Just don't ask me the
Well,
important stuff and I can give you an answer.
yeah, like like I can't, I don't know how to balance my checkbook, but if you need to know the backstory to Booster Gold, I'm your guy.
Look, balancing your checkbook is overrated. That's what online banking is for.
Thank you. I don't even, who uses a checkbook anymore?
I don't. Somebody recently said that. Well, did you write it in your ledger? I'm like, my what? Excuse me? Are you speaking English?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. This happened to me the other day. I had to run to the store to pick something up, and someone gave me cash. They're like, here's money, and I was like, I was looking at the cash like,
What do I do with this?
like, do you know how long it's been since I've used cash?
Here's the
I
thing.
don't even remember.
I prefer to use cash, but I don't carry cash because it just disappears. Like I could have $100 cash on me, and then next thing I know, I've got $48.67, and I don't know where the rest of it went. What did I do with it? At least if it's in the bank, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's another
I
reason
can
why.
see where it went. I
Yeah,
can see where I used my
pull
card.
it up. Exactly. That's what I do. That's what I do. I use my card. I use yeah. No cash for me. Like number one, for the reason you said. Number two, we're still in this pandemic. I don't want to be touching anybody's dirty money. Like,
Let's not even get started
no.
on what they have found on money. I used to work at a casino. Have I told you that, right? when I
You've
worked
told me.
at a when I worked at a casino for the summer, and I was a cashier. And at the end of my shift or in between my breaks, my fingers would be black, black from the dirt and the whatever from the touching the cash. I mean,
Yeah.
just no.
No, thank you.
Exactly.
Especially in the world we're living in right now. No, thank you. No.
So
Yeah.
everybody's like, so are you going to go back to the way things were before pandemic, like blowing out your candles and then eating that cake?
No.
It was funny. I saw somebody say, are we just going to be raw breathing with other people on the elevator? Raw breathing? Unprotected breathing?
Here's the thing that this pandemic has taught me. I already didn't trust people, but now I trust people even less. Like, I've been wearing that mask for over a year. Every time I go out, haven't gotten sick. No, I haven't gotten a cough. No, I didn't get the flu. Never had a sore throat. I mean, I haven't had a sore throat in these. It's like y'all were sick around me, getting me sick this whole time. Like, even after I'm vaccinated and whatnot, I'm still gonna wear a mask because I don't trust any of you. Like, that's it.
Yeah,
I don't trust
well, that's why I think a lot of people are like that. So I am vaccinated now.
Mhm. Good for you.
But
Okay.
I also think I think I've told you this. I was sick in November of 2019, really
Mm.
sick, and I'm convinced that that was COVID. So I probably already had the
Probably.
antibodies for it. But hey, whatever. I still got vaccinated.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Why not? If you can get that added protection, why not?
Well, yeah, and it
Well,
wasn't a requirement at the hospital, but
mm-hmm.
why would you refuse it if they're offering it to you? I mean, I know everybody has, their own opinion on that, but I know
Yeah.
that's fine. I'll get it. If you
Yeah.
don't want it, you don't have to, but
Like, hey, send it my way. You know
just
what I mean?
stay. You don't have to get vaccinated. Just stay the fuck away from me. No, I'm just kidding.
Get away. No, I am like that. Like, if I, this is funny. I was thinking about this for some reason. I'll tell this story here. It's a joke, or is it? Pre-pandemic, if I saw like a beautiful woman out on the street, and I'm just like, oh, look at her, she's so beautiful. But in the pandemic world we're living in, like, if I see a beautiful woman not wearing a mask, I'm like, oh, she's stupid. That's the world we're living in. That's how my views and opinions have changed.
Isn't
So
that strange how everything has changed in a year?
yeah, yeah, like this right here. Like I told you, I was gonna go visit you, like right before everything went bad. And now here we are. Still haven't seen you in person in how long? And
It's been years.
but no, like I saw you in 2017. I went out and stayed with you for a weekend.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Remember we went to go see Guardians Volume 2?
Okay. Gosh, that whole time that I lived in that house is like a blur to me. A lot of it was because I was so unhappy there. Like, I think I've just blocked that section of my life off.
No, and that's what, when you said that, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I probably would have blocked all that out too.
I was just so unhappy there.
I bet. But I mean, I'm glad you got out and you're somewhere. Are you happy? Are you happy where you're at?
You know, I'm more stressed out, but I'm happier. I'm definitely happier. Like, I think, would I go back with my ex? If he were to ask me to go back, I'm too at peace with the way things are. Yes, I'm struggling financially, and I would still take that over going back. Like
That's a lot.
I would. That's like I'll take on a second job, and I'll still be that. Then go back there. I really love Washington. I love this community.
Oh, I feel you. I feel you. That was like when I moved out to Colorado. It was like I just love it out there. I love it so much. Like the environment. Like there's just
Yeah.
so much more going on out there for someone like me. I met so many interesting people.
More like-minded people.
Yeah, made so many more friends, so many great friends that I
Yeah.
have in my life now, and like uh, so many creatives. Like that's the thing that like in Nebraska it was hard to find creative people. I mean, you could find them, but like sort of like actually finding people who have the drive to do anything with it,
Yeah.
very rare, very rare. But out in Colorado or wherever else, the other places I've been, I've met so many cool people that are just like you said, like-minded and very talented, and people who are actually doing stuff with it. Like my buddy Mitch and his band, who are also my friends. And it's like they're out there, they make music, they record it, they put it out there, and they're really out there trying to make it, in the music industry, and that's awesome. And I support them 100%, which is why I've had them on the show so many times, because I believe in them and I want other people to know what they did. That's also why I bring you on the show so many
And I
times.
appreciate that. I'm very fortunate that I moved out here and I sort of found my group of people pretty quickly. I moved out here at the very beginning of August 1st. And by January, I had sort of found my group of people.
Mm-hmm.
And even now, even though this is the second hospital I've worked at, everybody has been so supportive of my writing career. Like, what I write isn't for everybody. It's not everybody's cup of tea.
Right.
But it doesn't matter. They're all still super supportive. Like, hey, that maybe that isn't my thing, but good for you, and I'll tell people about you. So I've been very lucky. And, here I've been talking about semi-retiring in a couple of years and moving away to the coast. It's like only in the last month have I been thinking, why do I really want to move away? Like that's the first time that's ever happened to me where I think I'm really putting down roots somewhere.
Yeah.
And it scares me a little bit. I have commitment issues, severe commitment issues. And that to me is like making a commitment to stay here. So
it is.
I don't know.
No, but like also I think it's like you said, like you found some kind of peace, and maybe it's just that you don't feel like you have to be chasing something anymore, or like you're not running towards something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So look, I still want warmer weather, but that doesn't mean I can't
Right.
still call this my home and travel to warmer weather and still come home. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do actually. I do. Which coast? Which coast are you looking at?
All of them.
All of them. Good
So
answer.
part of me wants
Good answer.
the coastal Oregon. Part of me wants coastal Washington. But more lately, I'm drawn to either like South Carolina coast
Yeah.
or the coast of Texas. So
Yeah. Well, yeah, and like Texas is something you and I have spoken about quite a bit.
and I've been recently looking at jobs there, and
Nice.
oh, it's calling me. I'm telling you, I don't know what it is about me and moving and traveling, but I just like the newness of things. Like to go there in the unknown and not knowing anybody. Yes, it's scary as hell, but I like that.
Also freeing. It's very freeing. You know?
Yeah, it's like I can go there and be anybody I want.
Exactly.
I still end up being the same goofball, but that's not the point. The point is if I wanted to
They
be somebody
don't
else.
know that.
That's
Yeah,
right.
they don't know that. And
I think
you just bring that on them.
I think I've told you every time I start a new job, I'm like, I'm going to be aloof and I'm going to be mysterious and I'm going to be this, this enigma that people are, they want to get to know me. And I totally blow it within the first hour of working there. I'm like, well, that's gone.
Almost immediately, like you're like, I'm going to be mysterious and aloof. And then almost immediately you're like, hey, look at this donut with bacon on it. Isn't this crazy? Like,
and then I open my mouth and all that is gone.
Yep. Done. It's not happening.
Okay, well, the next job I'll have to aim for that.
Yep. I'll keep my fingers crossed for you.
Thanks.
All right. So, okay. We should probably start wrapping it up because I'm noticing you're losing light over there. So
Yeah.
let's start wrapping it up. And also, I know it's later over there for you, so we'll get you out of here. It's been great having you back
Thank
on
you
the
very
show.
much.
I love having you on. Yeah, we'll have to have you on again sometime soon. Maybe, hopefully, Cliff will make it this time. Cliff.
Yes. All I have to say is we still need to review Lamageddon.
Yes, we do. And I was actually thinking about that. So we're going to have to set that up eventually. So we'll do that for sure. Yeah, we should probably try and make that the next time we get together on the show. So.
Okay.
All right. So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this episode, the return of Ella Dominguez, to sort of basically have me explain Justice League to her. But, but hey, I still had fun. So
yes, I did too. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And all right. So, once again, let everybody know where they can find you online.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram, Ella Dominguez or Ella_Dominguez. And you can find me now on TikTok. I just made my first video yesterday. Ella Dominguez Books.
Mm-hmm.
And my website is elladominguezbooks.com.
Nice. Very nice. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, if I can speak. Go show her all the love. Follow her. I was going to mention your TikTok account because I noticed some videos finally going up over there. So there it is. She has finally joined the dark side, ladies and gentlemen. So yes, go show her all the love and the support over there. I am, of course, Antonio Padilla. You can find me on all social media, either at Tron Pilgrim or at Tron Pilgrim 87. That includes TikTok. Since we're plugging it. And remember to go check out Cliff on all his social media and Mr. Swagtastic on YouTube. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to do it. Join us next time, ladies and gentlemen. Same nerd time, same nerd channel. Good night.